Barry Leonard from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania had a stunning look to his layout. I've been seeing this layout in Great Toy Train Layouts of America Part 4 several times for the past 10 years, and I think it still looks spectacular. Even to this day, the layout still looks awesome. This layout had been built all because Barry Leonard wanted as many trains as he possibly could. Back then, when he was a kid, he never owned an electric train set in his life. Maybe it's because his parents couldn't afford one because of how expensive they are. I mean, that sounds pretty relatable. Since 1980, Barry had got into the toy train hobby. He remembered that he wanted a lot of the Line L trains that he never had, so he started buying them as much as possible, like a spoiled kid wanting so many things on his or her Christmas list. By 1986, Barry had racked up a large quantity of engines, rolling stock, people, buildings, etc. Now it was time to build a layout. So he decided to have his layout be located in an L-shaped basement. The first thing he did was he painted the walls with a sky blue coat and added some backdrops on there. Barry didn't know what he wanted his layout to be like, so he decided he's going to go with a representation of everything about the railroads, because f it, why not? Like some train layouts, most cross-sections were illustrated as American life during the 1950s, because that's how it is on most toy train layouts. I mean, the 50s is where trains were still present, both steam and diesel, traveling by towns and cities and other places. Besides, no one wants to make a layout to be set in the 90s or 2010s when most people these days are driving cars instead of taking trains. I might be overthinking a little. Now, where does the building process of the layout begin? Well, since Barry Leonard is an inexperienced layout builder and model maker, he contacted Don Cardiff from St. Charles, Illinois, whom he knew that he designed some very interesting train layouts. Don came up with a layout design in mind for Barry so he can have all the trains, accessories, and other things to be included on there. And it was exactly the type of layout he wants. Barry is destined to create what I like to call the perfect toy train layout. 9 months later, after the layout design had been built, it was delivered over to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in modules. And then, when they arrived at Barry's house, they're unloaded from the truck and into the basement. The project began to take shape in the basement. Layout modules have been put together, wires were connected from the rails and relays to the transformers, structures and accessories have been put in the right places, scenery had been crafted, trees and foliage were glued on, and other touches had been added. Barry had learned a lot from his crew when it comes to wiring, and this helps make his model railroading skills develop. After 4 days, Barry's layout is finally finished. He might try to update it later if there's anything else that he needs. But for now, he can let her rip and watch all the trains and animated scenes in action. And my word, this was an outstanding layout. 30 by 20 feet in length, 15 by 40 feet in height, and it had 3 levels. A lot of the accessories, structures, and animated scenes had a thematic purpose, and all of them had blended naturally with Barry Leonard's layout as he would have wanted. Have a look at everything on his layout. It was awesome! I don't know where to start with Barry Leonard's layout, but I will start by saying that both levels of the layout had busy town sets. The town on the first level had some of the custom-built buildings, construction vehicles doing road work, and a little trolley going back and forth, taking passengers around town. I do like that shot with the Southern Pacific passenger set rolling on the embedded stretch of track, passing by the crossing gate in town. That shot sorta reminded me of the Pacific Electric Railway trolley seen in Roger Rabbit, as far as I can tell. Probably the color schemes, that's what I think. The town on the second level had more things going on than the town on the first level. There's a Lionel refreshment stand, a Lionel newsstand, more custom Plasticville buildings, a Mercedes-Benz dealership, and a heliport, which I really like because even though it's toyish and it's made out of plastic, it still looks good as a convincing aircraft control building. There's a driver at Barry's Boat Center with a boat trailer hitched up behind the car struggling to get out of the parking lot. Maybe somebody should give her a hand. Other model displays on Barry Leonard's layout looked really good too. I like this roundhouse and engine facility where engines turn around on the turntable. Check out the Lionel military and space cars that he has. Watch as you see the rockets hit the target on that floating balloon. See the rockets hit the target on the boxcar.
Hey, oh, it didn't mark it though.
Or a satellite launched into the air. Barry also had the Mercury capsule launching car that he wants to show us. When you press the button, the rocket shoots up. Then a string attached to it stops the rocket by pulling it down, and out came a little pin with a parachute. Cool, isn't it?
1, 0.
Some of the animations on Barry Leonard's layout are a joy to see. I like the big top set that has an animated circus scene with the goofy music, ringmaster hollering, lions and tigers roaring, and riders screaming on the carnival rides.
The most incredible freaks of nature. Meet Samson, the strongest man alive. Or do a double take as you gaze at the inseparable Siamese twins.
There's a serious fire scene where you can hear the siren wail and the building caught ablaze. A fire car is going back and forth, hitting the bumpers at both ends of the line. I also like some of the animations where the children played at the park, seeing them play volleyball, go on the swing set or seesaw, and this guy right here is flying his model RC plane around the field. That is the second time that I said that. And the adults working at their jobs like at a construction site or painting a house. When visitors come to see Barry's layout, they'll look at some of the little animations with awe. The mountains around the layout stretch from top to bottom, and they were emblematic of Don Cardiff's layout designs. I love how the mountains were made on Barry Leonard's layout. The mountains were made out of latex plastered with a putty knife onto the wooden frames with screening. A muted color palette for the mountains was used, including burnt sienna, Payne's gray, raw sienna, and burnt lumber. And then on top of that, they were decorated with woodland scenic turf and foliage. Below the mountains, you can see some hunters hunting wabbits, probably to have them cooked as wabbit stew at Ma's Place Diner, Elmer Fudd's favorite recipe. I like the range of Lionel accessories behind the mountains above, with the 364 conveyor lumber loader, the 164 log loader, and 97 coal loader, where we see a B6 switcher going back and forth, pulling and pushing a few cars. There's the wooden work cars sitting at the corner of the trestle bridge, which they used to be seen on the railroads back in the late 1800s and early 1900s. The Lionel factory from Hillside, New Jersey is another cool touch to Barry Leonard's layout. A young Lenny Dean is working there, doing his best to be a really useful employee to his boss. Lenny had a bright future ahead of himself and became one of the valuable members at Lionel for his dedication. And of course, I won't forget to mention Barry's layout without talking about the trains. All the track is Gargrave's T-rail. 18 blocks were installed with only 3 relays. They would allow Barry to control more than one train on the same line. As for the trains themselves, some of them were my favorites. Lionel's reproduction of the classic Blue Comet set, or Baby Blue Comet, whatever you like to call, along with the MPC version from the 70s, the Reading T1 from the Richard Kuhn era, the MPC Alton Limited set, the Southern Pacific F3 passenger set, the Pennsy F3 passenger set, the General set, and the Pennsy GG1. I love seeing some of those trains in their striking colors. Even the Hudson Rail Chief set is one of my favorites, just like how it's Joshua Lionel Cowan's favorite. Although Barry Leonard normally buys and collects Lionel trains, he also had owned a couple of Williams trains, like this New York Central Hudson taking up coal, and the Union Pacific's Big Boy that comes with a Union Pacific caboose. And as we all know, this is where the outtake is shown on Barry Leonard's layout, as shown here, where the Big Boy trundles over the trestle bridge only for it to tumble off the layout and break.
Okay, now we're ready to go over our new trestle bridge. Easy now.
Oh no! Bruh.
Actually, it was caught by Barry Leonard himself. Phew, thank goodness. Otherwise, the model will be damaged, and that costed him $600 to buy. So that's Barry Leonard's layout. His layout, by and large, was fantastic. Don Cardiff did a great job crafting the kind of table that Barry wanted. Everybody else, including Barry, had also done a great job on the scenery, electronics, and animations. This layout is yet another one of my favorites from Great Toy Train Layouts of America. I love the craftsmanship made to the model sets, and seeing some of those trains run on Barry's layout easily made me point out to some of my favorites. I like some of the nice touches to the blue sky backdrop, like that hot air balloon up there. All the animated scenes like the suburban home, fire, or circus were amazing. And I love the use of accessories here. Their locations where they're set at were flawless. In short, Barry Leonard's layout is spot on, and that's why I call it the perfect toy train layout. Although that might be subjective to say, because other people might think otherwise. But whatever, it's still an excellent layout, and that's what it matters. Next, we'll be flying out to Milwaukee, Wisconsin to see Bradley Nelson's American Flyer layout.